I'm Olivia.
And I'm Eli.
In this video, we will inform you of all your rights from the second that you get arrested until the end of your trial. I didn't see you there. Usually when you're watching an arrest on TV or in a movie, you see this.
Sophie Klaiman, you're under arrest. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you.
However, that is often not the case. The Miranda rights, which you just heard, are required to be read to a suspect prior to interrogation, not directly after arrest. This pretrial right was established in the case Miranda v. Arizona. Miranda rights serve to inform a suspect of their Fifth Amendment rights because they prevent self-incrimination of the arrestee.
Protection against unlawful search and seizure is another one of your pre-arrest rights found under the Fourth Amendment. If an officer of the law wants to search your house for anything, they must get a warrant from a judge depicting what they are looking for. If the warrant says the police are looking for an AK-47, the police wouldn't be allowed to search parts of the house that clearly cannot contain this gun. The only times an officer can search your house is when you give consent, they search it after you've been arrested, if what they're looking for is in plain sight, if the contraband is being shipped in an automobile or any other vehicle, and if the officer has probable cause, or if they're being searched in any one of U.S. borders.
Now that we've shown you your pre-arrest rights, we will move on to your pre-trial rights.
The right to due process can be found in the Fifth Amendment, which states that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. In simpler terms, this is the principle that an individual cannot be deprived of life, liberty, or property without the appropriate legal procedures and safeguards.
The right to legal counsel lies within the Sixth Amendment. Basically, it states that all defendants have the constitutional right to be represented by an attorney. The case Gideon v. Wainwright primarily set this precedent.
Each defendant has the right to bail, which is when a certain amount of money or property is determined and then exchanged in return for the release of the defendant.
Sorry, I was on a phone call. The Sixth Amendment states that the defendant must be rightfully informed of the charges against them. This is another way to guarantee a fair trial.
The right to remain silent is given in the Fifth Amendment. It states that a defendant has the right to refuse to answer any questions posed by law enforcement officials or court officials.
The right to a speedy trial is within the Sixth Amendment. It states that the defendant is entitled to a fast and efficient trial.
Sorry, just releasing some stress. Another right every defendant is entitled to is to never be tried for the same offense multiple times. Sorry. You cannot be tried if the jury's verdict is acquittal, once the trial has been dismissed, or after the court has granted a mistrial, on appeal, or after conviction.
This is Sophie Klaiman. In the year 2017, she was tried for and acquitted of a murder. However, it is now the year 2037, 20 years later, and Police Chief Cacike Estrada has, in her home, found a murder weapon and a written confession. Lock her up, am I right? Wrong. Because of the rules of double jeopardy, Sophie cannot be tried again.
In the Eighth Amendment, it gives the right to the defendant to be safe from cruel and unusual punishment. While there is no set definition for cruel and unusual punishment, an example of it would be to cut the hands off of somebody who took a pair of $5 sunglasses from a local convenience store. Not like these or anything.
The Sixth Amendment establishes the right of the accused to a public trial. This means that the courthouse is open and the public is allowed to spectate. There are exceptions, however, which can be made by the judge on a case-by-case basis.
The right to a jury is established in Amendment 7. It states that each defendant is entitled to a jury present in their hearing. Defendants are allowed to waive this right if they want to. If they waive this right, they are subject to a bench trial, in which the judge has the responsibility of determining guilt.
The Fifth Amendment states that no person shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself. Self-incrimination is the act of implicating oneself during questioning. The right to plead the Fifth protects against self-incrimination. The purpose of this right is to inhibit the government from compelling a confession through force, coercion, or deception.